Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Burrow Defense development thingy. So today I'd like to add an area in the map from which you can access the minigame. So an area inside Fjolgard in which you can either talk to an NPC or go through a portal to access the minigame. Um, I'm going to add some custom sprites to the minigame to show you guys how to um, add extra textures. And then also, if there's time within the hour, add a custom UI that shows you how many rabbits you've saved, I guess. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is add a way to get to the minigame. So let's decide where we're going to put it. Do I have my mount? I don't. Lord of Donkeys. And let's just save this. Okay. So I think where shall we add it? Honestly, doesn't matter. Let's add it over here. So I guess I'll add a little portal, I guess, a little object that once you go onto it, you can interact with it, then enter the area. So to do that, we have a few options. What we can do is we can add an event over here called on, let me find this example. Not this one. On after get layer objects, I believe. This will allow us to add a new object into a layer for a specific zone. If you want more control over the area that you or the thing you're going to add inside the map, for example, if you want to add, I didn't save my position. For example, if you want to add specific map items like extra walls or tiles, not just one object, then it's better to create a map extension, which I think we'll do for this example. So to do that, we need to depend on map extension. That's a mod that we use to extend maps, and then we can register extensions to maps. We can look at the Merry Winter example. Extension, this part. So inside our init map thread, actually we can do this anyway. I believe we can do this on main thread as well. Yeah, we can do it on main thread. So let's just move that to main thread. It just registers it for any subsequent maps that are spawned so that it will extend it. So we want to extend Fjolgard, and we're going to store the map inside this. I'm just calling it ext extend access burrow. And we want to put this in a specific position. I'll go check tiled where we want to place this. Just find the map for Fjolgard. Got so many maps open. There we go. We want to override this area over there. So I'm going to copy the position, or get the position at this point, which tells me it's 100 and something. Just look over there, 100, 160. So we'll extend from 100, 160. And if it finds a conflict, for example, if it finds in a certain position there's a wall tile in both the Fjolgard map and in the extension map, we're going to replace that. All right, let's create this map folder, Fjolgard, and I'll just get a copy of any extension map. Which one will I use? Let's just use this one from Salzmoor. ext access burrow.json. Okay. Now the file is there, and we can go edit the file. So let's open it in mods, Burrow Defense, maps, Fjolgard. Okay, so we've got an object over here that's part of the Salzmoor map, which we obviously don't have access to. I'm just going to remove this tile set, and for now I won't add any new tile sets, but I do want to change the size of this. This is quite, how many tiles is this? 14 by 14, or 15 by 15. How big will we make this? So we start at 100, 160. So I guess this area, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 6 wide, and where do we start? There. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 by 6. 6. Where did it go? Map, resize map. So this will be 6 by 6. Alright, and let's add some tiles to it. Let's copy the tiles from this one. Something easy to do is you can, starting at 100, 160, right click for, that's 2 by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you select the whole thing, and then on this side you can just click it down. Let's go to the walls layer, same position, 100, 160 for a 6 by 6. Plop it down. And are there any doodads? There are. Same thing. I placed these in the wrong layer. Doodads. Oh, I copied too many, didn't I? Let's go back to doodads. 100, 160, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they are like this. And let's get those walls again. 3, 4, 5, 6. Put them in the walls layer. There we've got it. And let's add something new so we can see that it's working. We'll add something in, and just as a test, in the walls layer. Let's add a mob right there. Make sure it doesn't crash when we start this up. No crash. It also didn't seem to actually do anything. Do we have the right position? Oh, it should be over here. And we see this weird gray thing over there. I think that actually makes sense. Which position is it? Yeah. Let's remove this one. Paste something from the walls layer. Okay. We can't place mobs inside a, let's call it a tile layer, tile walls or doodads, because they're not part of the atlas. Tiles that, or things that become objects, anything you can interact with, like a mob or a door or something, those aren't in the tile atlas, but anything that's static inside the world, they are in the atlas, which is why we couldn't put the mob there. Okay, so we can see our extension does work. Let's remove this thing, and now we can, I guess we're going to custom sprite sheet, so we can add some kind of Burrow sprite we can enter. So to add custom sprites, we need to listen to a different event. This event is used very often for mods. Let's go into Souls Moor again. It's called on before gets client config. I'll just copy this example from Blisterwind. Just put this in its own file because these things can get quite big. Not going to use most of these things. We're not going to add and change the logo or add client components. We are going to register new tile sets though. Let's just copy one for now. Just a little helper function that registers tile sets. So this part is the helper function. It checks what kind of texture it is and adds it to the atlas if necessary. etc. So we're going to add a new sprite sheet called, I guess, objects. Yeah. And if we look at blister wind, we'll see anything that's objects just done like this, so no specific opacity. Only tiles are at lower opacity normally. Okay, there's our objects, our walls also, but they've got higher opacity than tiles. So we've got this thing that we can register. Now we can import this file on before get client config. There's this, and we can just add it in here because this part will want to get onto a function on this being this object. So we just put it on this object and we just reference the imported one. This, of course, being shorthand for doing it this way. But if the method is the same as the variable in which it's stored, you can just do it like this, shorthand. Alright, so we can create the sprite sheet now, which is called objects inside the images folder. Create a new thing. It needs to be 8 tiles wide. I'm just going to do 3 high. The tile width is 8 by 8. Save this inside our mod, Burrow Defense, new folder, images, and it's called objects. I mistyped objects completely, so let's open it. Objects, right. Import the palette and change the palette size from width 4 to height 11. Got our palette, and I like adding a second layer, just using the background color, and then we'll draw inside this layer, and we can just turn this one off when we export. So our first sprites will be a burrow we can access. I'm going to put effort into this right now. Do a kind of little, where's the circle thingy? Maybe one flat. Okay, and oh, that's the wrong color. This one. And then I guess just black on the inside as it gets darker. Okay, good enough. I'm going to add some bordering to this so that it stands out a bit better in the world. And we export this. Pixel scale 1. Next up, we need to add it into our map file. We do that by clicking this button, new tile set. We embed it in the map. This has to be ticked. I go find the image inside my mod folder. Now this is a trick. It needs to be very specific. When I add it, I copy the path to the file starting at the word server. I paste it into the name. It's 8 by 8. That should be good. Okay, now we've got this. We add this into the objects layer. Plop it down over there. I guess over there. We give it a name. We don't want to see the name, or maybe we do want to see. If we want to see the name in the world, we just add the name, Burrow. If we don't want to see the name, we add a pipe, and then Burrow. Then we can use this inside the zone file to configure this object, but we don't see the name in the map. So let's save it like this. go into the world. Did it crash? I didn't see a crash, it's just lagging. Very annoying. This does happen. Something to do with the CDN. There we go. Alright, we see our burrow over there, and even if we put our names, we don't see the burrow, but it is an object. You'll see it is in the, obviously it's in the objects layer. If I take this and I put it inside the mobs layer, we should see it walking around by itself. There it goes. I can target it and kill the hole. Great fun. Back in the objects. Alright, it's an object, so now we can go ahead and create the zone file. Zone files are used to configure objects that are inside maps. So as opposed to things that are in events, obviously the event mobs we created inside the event itself. So if we look at this event, we defined how they looked inside the events file over there and then created them manually. When we're working inside a map, even if it's an extension, we can just add a zone file, zone.js. I forget. So yes, module exports. Then we can do objects because we want to define what an object looks like. And here we have burrow. That's not burrow. This is burrow. Okay, burrow. Then we can give it properties, and now we can give it stuff that it needs to do. Component notice is what we're going to need, so that once we walk on to it, can tell us stuff. And for this, I'm going to find an example. Let's look for one in a zone file. This one should be good. I don't want this one. I don't want to talk to something. I just want to show a message. Component notice just has a message. Okay. Message. Let's try this. Okay, we're not seeing the message, but I do believe I'm doing this wrong. Let's look for another example. We have this, like this thing with actions. We are going to need the actions anyway. But there is also a way just to show a message. There's the squash patch. Oh, it's components. Okay, not properties. This is it? Seems weird. Let me just save again while I'm standing right in front of it. No, that also did not work. Component notice. Squash patch. Zone. Why? We have an object, we've got the name of the thing, component notice. Objects, name of the thing, components, component notice. And the name of the thing is Burrow. Okay, let's just to test to make sure our zone file is actually working. I think it actually isn't working. I'm quite sure it isn't working actually. For this to work, we need to zone files only automatically load if it's for a new map. Like Burrow Defense is a new map, the zone file will work by itself. If it's an extension map, we need to tell it to override the current zone file, because Fjolgard has his own zone file. And to do that, Salzmoor index on after get zone is what we need. We add that to our index file. Like this. So we try and load it. This could fail, that's why we have to try catch, because this will fire for all zones that are loaded. It tries to load map zone JS. Let's just log it over there, and then it extends the current config that we have. Let's just log the mod zone that it found to see if it finds the thing we expect it to find. Just wasting our time on this bit for a moment. Imagine elevator music, or don't, because it's crashing. Okay. What? Fingers. All good. Alright, it did log the thing. Now when we stand on it, please show the message. This is a hole, indeed. Cool. Don't need to log this. If you do notice the brief pauses in which I do nothing, I am drinking coffee. Okay, we added our thing. Now we can also add something for it to do once we enter. Enter. Let me just find an example in the zone file. So this we can give it a component to fire, or to call a component in a method, but we actually do not want to do that. Let me just look at notice. Enter. Call action. Enter. Enter can or action. Oh, sorry. Enter can also be a function. So enter, and it should receive the object that entered. Let's log the object name and enter. And let's do the same for exit. Is it exit or is it leave? Exit. Let's try. Let me. Oh, it won't log there. Obviously, it'll log in my server log. So we do not see enter at all. No exit. No surprise there. Component notice. Okay, so what are we doing wrong? 50% of development in Isleward is doing a global find. Oh, actions. Okay, so this should be wrapped in actions. Enter, and we have my name, meaning that this is the object. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to register a server action, meaning we want to tell the client that you can press a button to perform an action. So add server action, no, add action, like this. This is how we add an action. So in our zone file, when we enter, we have the object sync.set array, server actions, add actions, key is you, and we want the name is what? The name of the action, I guess. Yeah, the name of the action. And this will be enter Burrow. In the past, all text in Isleward, or most of the text was all lowercase. I'm trying to standardize that to not be lowercase anymore. Let's do this. And the action should be this. On a certain component needs to call something. I'm wondering, can we register anything like an action to fire? I think actually not. Let's see. Let's find this. These are all on components, I believe. These are all on components. We have fast travel. I don't know if it's added to the main server yet. It isn't. I don't want to. Okay, server actions. No, server component, server actions. Server actions. They. Oh, okay, they just do client perform action. Okay, so we can't do ad hoc code for server actions. That's alright. So that means we'll just add a custom component to the whole. Send to Burrow. Type is send to Burrow, and it'll have a method on it. Send player to Burrow. Don't know what this is all going to be. Just log it ABC. Okay, we can't just call this component because the router will not allow us to do that. But we'll get into that in a moment. Remove actions. I think we can just do it like this. So when we exit, we remove the action. The whole action is in there. Why? Okay. If you say so, then we do this. Alright, so like I said, we won't actually have this firing at the moment. We need to extend a new thing. So let's look at what? Mail. It'll be this one. So we need to tell Isleward that there's a new component and a method on a component that we can call. This will be a thread component method. So a method on a component inside a thread, not on the global thread. It's inside a thread, inside a map. Let's just copy this part. Did I copy it? We'll see. I did. All right. So this component is called this thing, send to Burrow. The method is called send player to Burrow. It does not have a callback. Don't worry about that. And it doesn't have anything we send into it. We just call it as is because there's no data. We don't need to tell it. It just needs to send the current player to the Burrow. So let's see. I did not get my server action. Okay, let's see why. So over there, this is log object.name again. Okay, certainly did do that. Okay, why doesn't this work? Okay, the only example in the zone file is there. Key and an action. Okay, key and an action. Okay, so we are inside a a map thread at the moment, so that's not the issue. Let's go into client server actions, see if we did receive it. Okay, so we should see it in the console once I step on it. So we received server actions, but it's okay. Add actions. We need to log add actions, otherwise it gets deleted over there. It might be empty. Null coalescing operator. And afterwards, let's log this.actions. This.actions. Okay. Enter Burrow. I logged it first, and then afterwards I logged this.actions. So we do have this thing over there. U is enter Burrow, which doesn't do anything, or doesn't seem to do anything. Let's go into, let's find this event that's in the middle HUD on get server actions. And why is this check there? Anyway, we don't actually show you notifications here, which I'm realizing now. Meaning we won't see anything on the screen anyway. We need to send an announcement to the client specifically, like this, or let's copy this one. Okay, so first we send it, tell it this is the action you can call, and then we say press U to enter the burrow. We don't need this, probably. Press U to enter the burrow. Send it to object.id, object server ID. Okay, not this.object, object. Let's see if it pops up now. Press U to enter the burrow. Okay, still doesn't work obviously, but we'll get to that. So let's go have a look at where do we server actions? Okay, on key up. Okay. Okay, I know what the issue is now. We will see this edit action. So we see it is being called over there, but it's wrong. If we go look at door.js server actions, okay, we call it on a certain target. We don't call if we don't specify a target ID, we will call the method on ourselves, which is wrong. So we do need to specify this in data, and this will be this.object.id, this being the object, the burrow. So this is in data, but another problem is this can't be an arrow function because arrow functions don't have this. Okay, so now we tell it to call it on the burrow. The next thing is we need to tell it that we pass this in as data. So it'll be key targets ID, data type integer, kind of guessing, key and data type. All right. Okay, now we should call it. I say should, I mean maybe. Okay, crash. Reading ID on line 15 is crashing. So over there, this.object.id it can't find. Okay, so I think we will have to look over here. This is not an arrow function. Let's just log. I think this is the object, to be honest. Let's log this dot components. See if it's truthy. We should see that it is truthy. Or better yet, let's log this dot notice. See if that's truthy. Then we know that this is the object. I think we faced the same issue in the first video. False. Okay, notice is false. Is it because there's no type there? No, that's not why. Alright, so let's just log the whole of this. Okay. This is an object with, okay, this is like the big global this. And I'm not sure why. It seems that components added in zone files don't properly get this set up on them, which is a problem. Let me see if I can find other examples where we do something like that. I think we've established now that we don't do anything like this. We receive the object, but that's it. It seems I've never accessed this in a zone file. Let's see, this dot object in zone.js. There we have it. This dot object in the cave in the tutorial, but these are all inside the init function. Let me just close that and search again. So here we have it in the activate function. This component trigger components. Yeah, it's definitely there. So what are we missing in our example over here? I'm not sure. It's because it's inside actions, I bet. These things. So let's go have a look at component notice. It calls action with the object. Yeah, but it doesn't bind this. We would have needed to call it with a new. Okay, so we can't do that. That's lame. So we'll have to do it in a boring way by going to find the burrow. We can do that like this. I'll just put a comment. Object burrow equals object.instance dot no, it's instances 0.objects dot find o dot send to burrow isn't undefined. See if it exists, because we look for something with its components on it. Bit hacky, but okay. We'll need it a bit there as well. Can't read 0 on line 10. Okay, so I guess it is just like this. Object instance objects. Cool. Okay, and there it's logging this thing for us. remove this. And now we know that the first argument over there is what contains the target ID, which we don't need. We need the source ID. That's the ID of the player that interacted with it. And then in this case we do have this. So we can make this a function so we can access this. I'm saying this a lot. This is the life of a JS developer. Go and find the player. This.object.instance.objects. Object player equals, and now we check for o.server ID equals source ID, I believe. Let's log the name. Nothing there. Interact, and then we see our name. Alright, so we've got the player. Now we can send ourselves to the zone. To do that, we need to import send object to zone, send object to zone, send player to zone. I should remove this. Send object, this one. We'll import this from where? Currently I'm in this folder. I'm in Fjolgard. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Components, portals, and object to zone. Okay, let's find an example of how to call this thing. Like this. Was that a good example? Send object to zone. This one, it's better. We can await this. Let's just change this to async so that we can await. Not that it really matters. It should be the last thing inside this handler anyway. Object is object player. We want to go to minigame Burrow Defense. I don't think we need to specify the position because it should just send us to the default spawn position, which is where, just so we can make sure that it's doing it right. 11.6, so right in the middle. Very nice. Alright, that took a bit longer than I wanted it to take. Let's quickly just add custom sprites to the bunnies. This will be a bunny. Oh, put it on that side. Eyes over there? No. I guess like this. Okay. Let's add some bordering to it. And now in our, whoa, what was I saying? I don't know. In our, this thing, Burrow Defense event, we can give the different cell. Cell will be number 2, or no, number 1, because 0 is the first one. And we need to access it from thing. Was it sprite sheet? Maybe, we'll see. Server mods Isleward Burrow Defense. images objects.png. That's not what we need. Sprite sheet with a capital S. Nope. Sheet name with a capital N. That's a big bunny. Kind of imposing. Okay, it does work. Let's draw quick carrots as well. Boop. This is cell 2. Great. Where's the carrot? This is the carrot. Alright. This video has gotten quite long. I think I'll stop it over here, and I'll do the next one as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.